Okay, we started. Greetings, I'm the author. Okay, Hawaiian Sling Building 101. My chair a little. Hawaiian Sling Building 101. First, you need the shooter, and you can buy these on the internet, no problem. It's hard to find them with a slit all the way across, and I'll show you why that's advantageous. When you make your bands, which I'll show you how to make here, you can make different ones, and you can very quickly put them in like that, the other one in. Okay. Use it, and if you want a more powerful one or a less powerful one, or switch it out, it's very fast. They used to sell these. There was a floater and a sinker, and then they stopped selling them, I guess before COVID, after COVID. But like I said, if you can't find it with a slit, you can buy the one without it, and then just take a hacksaw and cut it, and then get a file in there, a thin file, and work it, and smooth it all out, so you're not going to cut your rubber bands, and make sure it's all smoothed out in there. Use some sandpaper at the end. Anyway, I modified this one by putting a phenolic insert in. I bought a phenolic tube, and then I think I have a 5/16 inside diameter, and I use a 1/4 inch shaft, so it just gives a less play in there, which you can do. But it's a lot of work, and I wouldn't recommend it. It's not really required. But for those that are interested, you would just drill this out with a wide drill, and I don't have the details here, but if anybody writes me, I can give them. And then you simply put a lot of epoxy around your phenolic tube, put it in, cut off your phenolic tube, you get the idea, file it down, and you're good to go. Okay, so this is what we're after, and they have end plugs, which are these, and looks like these are, 0.84 inches, 21 centimeters about the plug, and the width at the thick end is about 9 millimeter, 0.36 inches. But you can use pretty much any plug you want that you can find on the internet, but this is what I use. And to be specific, the size of the plug you use depends on the inside diameter, and we'll get to that in a minute. But what I prefer to use for my strength, and I'm a pretty strong guy, but young people, if you're lifting weights and stuff, you might be able to go heavier. The heaviest, typically would be the 1/2 inch, right, outer diameter with a thick 1/8 inch wall, and that's very hard to pull back. I can't. But I use this 7/16, which fits nicely in here. The 1/2 inches are a little harder to get, but they get in. And so I use 7/16 outer for the rubber and 3/16 wall diameter. Or no, I'm sorry. 7/16 outer, 3/16 inner diameter, 1/8 wall. And it's prime line. So you can buy it on Spearfishing World. And it's a 7/16 outer diameter choice that you have. 3/16 hole in the middle, cross, and 1/8 wall. I think that's right. So that's what I like to use. So now, the nice part is, I don't like to just have the rubber just go through here, and then when you go to shoot your spear, you're trying to grab it together. I like to tie it up with a line like this, okay? So how do we do this? How do we tie that like that? You've seen them sold like that, probably. The way we do it is, I already have this one started, so you can see it. But what I did is, just so you know, is I took your standard the butt, the aluminum part, right? And for that I use about a 1.7 inch model. They have larger ones, but I like the 1.7. And you put it in a vise like that, right? And then you thread your rubber through the hole here. And then you pull it, okay, till these are roughly equal, you know, like you see them here, they're roughly equal. You pull it like that, and then you put a zip tie around it, as you see that I have it. And then tighten the zip tie, and that just holds this under tension, about like that. You don't have to pull it very hard, just a little bit like that. You can see, look at, if I pull this out, you can see sort of what's going on there. And then you sort of massage it a little bit so that the rubbers are on opposite sides, you know, that it's even, okay? And for the tying part, you generate one loop like that, that's about 2 feet long, and this is just nylon string. I don't really know the diameter, but it's just regular nylon string. And you leave the loop sort of right about where you see it. You can let that dangle down. And then you cut another piece, which I already did, which is for tying. That's for the tying part. And that's maybe 5 feet long or something. So now we can start to tie, and then you'll see how things work once we get into it. And to tie it, what I do is I have a little trick. I'll show you. Let's get the loop out of the way just for now. Take a pair of pliers like this and just pull this out a little bit and just put your line through like that. And then pull it up a little bit. And then we can just, you can begin wrapping this. So just hold it here. Don't go too tight for the first loop. Oh, don't forget you put your loop in here. You lay your loop just like that. We're gonna wrap right over that loop. And you start about where you see me start. And it's not that critical, but you don't wanna be too high up or too low. And I forgot to wear my rubber leather gloves. I always use leather gloves for this. So let me just stop for a minute and get them. I forgot. If you're a young guy, you probably don't need them, but you know, weak skin like me. Plus it allows you to pull it nice and tight. All right. I'm hopefully going to make this look easy, but sometimes it isn't. And you know, the nice thing is, right, if it doesn't work, you just start over. You're not really destroying anything. Okay, so let's start this wrap. Just wrap it like that. Nothing fancy, just right next to each other. Just keep going like that. Make sure, like I said, they're even on either side. And just keep going. Oh, I don't want that. Sometimes you get a little tangled up. Keep wrapping. Again, this is what we're after here. Okay. All right. Nothing fancy. I'll wrap it about that far. That looks nice. Let's see. That's plenty. And this is what I mean. You want them to be opposing, right? Otherwise they get a little off center. You see that one might look a little off center. So that's why you can see me sort of trying to keep the rubber centered like that. Okay, this is the fun part. So now when you think you have it long enough, remember this loop we put in here. Hold it like this and put the end through this loop. Put the end through the loop. See. Put a little hair around and go right in. There we go. See. Oh, I don't want a knot. Oh, God, I get a knot. Let me take off my gloves. Okay, got loosened a little bit. We don't want that. We'll retighten it. Okay, this just goes through. I'm making it look hard, but it's very simple. It just goes right through the loop. Jesus, old age. Okay, then you hold this like this, and then you grab this other end. This is the fun part, like here, see it? And we pull that loop in, and now watch what happens. We literally pull this string underneath. And I pulled it all the way through. You don't have to go all the way through. You can stop in the middle. Take the loop out because that just served its purpose. And then this part you can just burn off. All right. Same with this. Okay. Then, yeah, this one I think turned out okay. Oh, well, that could. Well, no, I think it'll be all right. Now, remember our zip tie, we have to clip that off. I'm gonna get some clippers, hold on. Some wire clippers. And be careful because every once in a while, I've actually cut the rubbers, and you don't want to do that after all that hard work. There, just popped open. It's under a little load. And that's the extra string. You can burn that off too. Don't need it anymore. All right, and that's it. All right, you can see it came out fairly even. Okay, so that's how you would pull it. That's a pretty good one, actually. See, it's nice and even. Okay, now we have to get the right size. And this is, I'm not going to show all this, but you measure carefully. You remember, you can measure multiple times, only cut once. I need to get a pair of scissors. Okay, I'm back. Okay, we have to put the plug in, and that's the plug. Now, normally you would have to put 2 of these in, but I had just happened to use some old rubber that I had sitting around, and it already had one plug in it, so I only have to do one. But I do have to cut them evenly, and I'm very anal about this, if you haven't gathered my nature. Particular. So let's pull these straight. Actually, consistent with my nature, let's be very precise in length. Pull this a little. Jeez, oh man. I'm still not happy with the way I'm doing it. Well, you could be pulling it different. That's probably pretty good, right? I don't know. That looks pretty good. We'll call it there. All right. Take a pair of scissors. No big deal here. And cut it off. Let's check. I'm going to take a little more off. Again, to appeal to my anal nature. Boom. All right, that's it. Good. Take off our zip tie. Need him. Okay. Now, this part is easy. You can just put a little alcohol or a little saliva, and you just push it on. And you only have to push it until it is just flush or a little bit beyond flush. That's it. And now we're done. So now, if you want to use this, you just hold it here with your hand and stretch a little, pops right in. This is where the 7/16 is a little better. The 1/2 inches, you have to stretch a little harder, but that's pretty good, right? It's not perfect. It looks like this one's a little longer. You know what? I'm just going to push in that plug a little bit more. See if I can push that in a little more. That plug. It's this plug. Let me see. Sometimes they don't push in very well after they've been sitting. Well, anyway, I'll do that on my time. You get the idea. Now, I said before I prefer prime line 7/16 outer, 1/8 wall, I think 3/16 inner. But there are different ones. Like this one, this will have about a 60-pound pull. This is a 50-pound pull, and it happens to be 1/2 inch outer, 1/8 wall. Okay, and it's stretchier. Somehow I always feel like the clear rubber is stretchier than the black, but I don't know. Doesn't make sense, right? But anyway, you can have different strengths you can buy. And I think that's a wrap. We could go into more detail. Like I said, if anybody's interested and they want to have a tighter bore on their Hawaiian Sling, I can tell them roughly how to do it. It's not easy, but you need some equipment. But basically, you just try to... The tricky part is trying to drill, when you buy one of these, to try to drill a straight hole through it so you can put this phenolic insert in, and it's tough. But anyway, you know, I don't know if it's worth it, to be honest. That's it. Thanks.